Well, the camera comparison you guys have been asking for is finally here. The Vivo X300 Pro versus the Oppo Find X9 Pro, to see how these two cameras compare in everyday use. Let's take a look. And for video capture on these two devices, we're starting off with the ultra wide, just capturing as much of field of view as possible. Then we're going to move into that main sensor. This is going to help with dynamic range, but also just give you a lot more clarity, just because that sensor is a lot larger. But then again, we do have the 200 megapixel zoom cameras on these two devices. The only difference here is the field of view. The Oppo isn't quite as tight, only 3x versus 3.5x on the Vivo. But as far as the sensor quality, you definitely get the same out of both of them. And this here's a look at video capture from the selfie cameras on these two devices. Oppo and Vivo have done a really good job this year with their selfie cameras. And I do have to say, I kind of like the colors out of the Vivo a little bit more than what you get out of the Oppo. But as far as just the overall quality from the two, I think they're really, really close. The fact that they're using the exact same sensor and their processing is pretty close. I think Vivo still takes the upper hand here, but Oppo is not far behind.
Let's take a quick break to talk about the sponsor for today's video. Headphones are always a good buy for the holidays, and the headphones that have gotten the most attention this year are, without a doubt, the Nothing Headphone 1. Just one look, and there's definitely no mistaking them for anything else that's out there. The design matches that transparent retro aesthetic that Nothing's been doing for the last couple years for its smartphones and its earbuds, giving you something that's truly unique. And if you're someone who loves physical buttons, the scroll wheel for the volume control is incredible, as is the forward back switch for changing tracks. The sound profile is a little bit heavy right out of the box, but you can switch that up and it's fully customizable through the app, so you can tune it perfectly to your liking. And of course, they offer great noise cancellation as well, allowing you to tune out the world around you, with battery lasting 35 hours with it on or 80 hours when it's turned off. The overall experience of these is phenomenal and definitely a lot different than what you get with any other brands. The Nothing Headphone 1 is usually priced at $299, but it's on sale right now for 20% off, making it an incredible steal for the holidays. So make sure you check out the link in the video description below.
And this here's a look at video capture from the selfie cameras on these two devices. Now, I always love doing this test right here, just walking through this alleyway that goes from light to dark. And then we're gonna get right over here, be able to see up at the sky, contrast between the shadows and the light up there, just to show you the difference there. But now I'm gonna flip things over to the cameras on the back of the phone just to show you how much better they are at coping with this situation. Now, first up, we have the ultra-wide cameras on the back of both of these devices. Should be a little bit better than what we got with dynamic range when compared to that selfie camera, just because the sensors themselves should be that much larger than what you get out of those selfie cameras. But as we walk back into here, going from that transition again, light to dark, and then looking straight up, let me know what you think of that. And now let's switch over to that main camera. And finally, the main sensors on the back of these two devices. Doing that test one more time just to show the difference there, and then walking out of the alleyway back to the street. Honestly, I think the main cameras are always the best ones for capturing photos and videos, but let me know what you think of that transition from the selfie cameras to ultra wide and then the main sensors. Well, now that it's dark, it's time for some low light photo and video samples with these two devices. Starting off here with the selfie cameras on these two devices. Honestly, even though they do have the same exact sensor for the selfie cameras, you actually tell the difference in the color tuning here from the Vivo to the Oppo. A little bit redder on the Oppo than it is on the Vivo. Honestly, I think the Vivo is a little bit green for my skin tone, but let me know what you think in the comments below. And for video capture from the rear cameras on these two devices, we're starting things off with the ultra wide camera and then moving into that main sensor. Going to cross the street here to see how the stabilization works out on both of these with that main sensor. Of course, if you do want to get in closer to your subject, moving into that 3x and 3.5x telephoto cameras on the back seems to work out pretty good here in low light on both of these devices. And that's going to do it for this camera comparison between the Oppo Find X9 Pro and the Vivo X300 Pro. Let me know what you think of the results in the comments below and which device you'd rather use on a day-to-day basis for your photos and videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.